Thanks for joining us here in our city. We are in the mayor's office at Muscatine City Hall, and it's November 20th of 2018, and we are all getting ready for Thanksgiving. Everybody's frantically running and shopping and cooking and doing everything they can. But in the meantime, we wanted to just share a few guests with you. But I wanted to talk to you about a couple things that we just got done doing first. So thank you to everybody that came out. Last night we had a joint coffee with the mayor and Riverbend neighbors down at Fire Station 2. So Councilwoman Nadine Brockert and myself welcomed some guests, had a nice time of some good conversation. Thanks to everybody for coming. And then I've been talking about the YMCA casino night for the last few weeks. Well, it happened on Friday, and I wanted to share just a couple of pictures with you. And here is our own Mel Steckel. Everybody had so much. She was a newspaper person. What would you call a newspaper person? I don't know. Is there like a slang word? Just a newsboy? Newsboy. So it was a ton of fun at the casino night. Everybody just was laughing and having such a good time. It was a ton of community support. People came out. We had some wonderful people that donated and sponsored for the event. It's our one signature event of the year that supports the programs that we have at the Y. And thank you to everybody that came. We hope you'll all remember the good time and come back again next year. That's the plan. So before we talk about anything else, I want to welcome the City of Muscatine's very own John Cook. He is our Water and Resource Recovery Facility Director, so to speak. Did I say that all right?
You got it right.
All right.
Yeah.
But he's here tonight wearing a different hat, and that is the Muscatine Pollinator Park Project. Muscatine Pollinator Project, and the park is one of the pieces, right?
Sure, you bet.
All right. How long have you been on that group?
Oh boy, we've formed about 2 years ago, so we've really got a lot done in the last 2 years.
Yes.
There's a few of them that belong to the Pollinator Project who have been doing this for many, many years.
Okay.
So this wasn't just a new thing to us.
Right.
We just kind of happened to all bump into each other and form a group about 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago.
So
okay.
Paul Crosser, of course, has been doing this out at Bridgestone Bandag for a long time, decades. And Paul Mays from MCC has been doing that, and Dave Cooney has been doing this for a long time.
Sure.
It just so happened that we were all kind of doing things at the same time, and we met at the Contrary Brew and started meeting together and said, hey, this should kind of carry on as a group. We should all get together and form a group. So we did, and we got our 501c3 status last year, and so we're on our way.
Put all your efforts together working towards some common goals.
Absolutely, yeah. Restoring native habitat as much as possible everywhere that we can. Obviously, we're in an urban setting, so we like to do it as much as we can in town.
Sure.
But we'll always help people out of town as much as we can. We're a small group of volunteers, so we don't always have a lot of staff power to get out and go do everything that we always want to do. But we try to get out there and do as much as we can.
Because it's all volunteer, right?
It's all volunteer.
All volunteer.
And our biggest goal is to plant as many natives as we can to support the pollinators, because the native pollinators need that native stock of food everywhere they can possibly find it.
And so for pollinators, we're talking about bees, we're talking about butterflies, we're talking about what else?
Hummingbirds, bats, moths, beetles, wasps, the good wasps, by the way.
Yes.
I know people always happen to think that that's kind of a bad thing, but there are good ones that attack people. The native ones are actually very docile, but the things that really pollinate plant to plant are very important for the food sources for people. There's about 30% of all food that we eat comes from pollinators. So
we need them.
The more pollinators die off, the less food we have for ourselves, and they're really worried about a lot of pollinators. When you see the decline of the monarch butterfly, it's not just about the monarchs. When you see a decline in any species that big, you assume that there's probably something happening to other species as well that we're not studying.
Oh, sure.
So the monarch has been studied really closely. We haven't really had a lot of time or money or energy put into studying other insects
Right.
that are in decline as well. We know they're in decline, but we don't know by how much.
Okay.
But we do know that when we get rid of habitat for these species, it just goes without saying that they're going to start dying off. There's just not enough places for them to
Sure.
eat, to live, to breed, and to do everything else like that. So what we're trying to do is put as much back into the wild as we possibly can.
Right.
You know, you look around, you see a lot of pavement, you see a lot of green grass, lots of really well-mown grass,
Right.
which everybody likes to look at. Everybody thinks, oh, that's a successful yard. Unfortunately, nothing lives in that yard.
That's true.
Almost nothing. Number one, it has a very short root source, so the water just sheens right off of it, doesn't soak into the ground.
Okay.
As a stormwater director as well,
Right,
that kind of bugs
right.
me. But as far as supporting wildlife, there's nothing for it. There's absolutely nothing grows in that, except Japanese beetles actually happen to like to live in the grass. So the more grass you have, the more you're supporting the Japanese beetles that come out and kill everything else that's around there. They seem to survive very, very well in
wow.
turf grass.
That's wonderful.
Which is wonderful. It's
Sure.
something we really don't
Sure.
want. I mean, they're an invasive species
Yes.
as well. And we try to get rid of all the invasive, when you talk about invasive species, you're talking about something that wasn't naturally here in Iowa, in our region. Somebody has brought it in, has introduced it somehow.
And it messes up things.
It messes up things because it doesn't have any natural enemies.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it doesn't know where it
There's nothing
is.
that-
It
yeah.
just grows, and
Right.
there's bugs that don't eat some of these. Most of these invasives, the bugs don't eat them. The deer won't eat them. There's nothing that suppresses them.
So they're
they end
gonna
up
go crazy.
proliferating. They take over, and they choke out everything else that's native that's supposed to be here.
Right.
And when those natives are gone, now we lose all the insect species that live here
Right.
because they haven't had time to adapt to all these new plants that we brought in. So
Sure.
So
Well, I'm so thankful that you guys have started working on it before it's gone. So we have a chance
yeah,
to fix things.
hopefully.
Yes. Well, and you know, I know some of the things that you're doing, maybe not specifically with the pollinator project, but you know, having the way that you're collecting water in different places around the community. And what do you call those?
Well, there's a couple different names for them. Biocells
Yes.
is kind of the new term for things like
And
that.
how does that work?
Well, it combines these two things very well. That's kind of how I got involved in the pollinators
Okay.
anyway, because I started looking around. And the best thing to put into stormwater practices, meaning a place where you send stormwater to soak into the ground as opposed to just building cement culverts to get it away
Get
as
it away
fast
from
as
us.
you can. So we build these areas that actually helps reduce flooding. It reduces the pollution in the stormwater, and it actually can support a native habitat that way. And you put these native plants in there. Lo and behold, you end up with this really nice native habitat area, and you're reducing pollution, and you're reducing flooding. It's a triple win, win-win-win.
Triple
And it's a
win.
really great thing for everything. So then I started learning about these native plants. Well, I'm a wastewater guy, so I had no clue
Sure.
what these were. So I'm kind of a newbie at this anyway. But it's been really fun to.
Well, you're a natural,
It's
for
been
sure.
fun to find out and learn how to plant and how to do these things,
Mm-hmm.
and then to teach it to other people. Because what they're really finding out is that these native habitat areas are very, very important. But it's important not to have just, you know, even if you had 100 acres of it, but then you had 100 miles around it with no other natives, it's too hard for these bugs to find that spot.
Sure.
They can't jump from one little island of native habitat
So
to
they
the
need a
next.
bunch of littles
Yes.
or a bunch of bigs.
Right. So our big push right now is to get people in their yards, in their homes, in their gardens, in their landscape, whatever they have around their house, to at least plant something native.
Sure.
You know, purple coneflowers are beautiful. They're wonderful. There's all different kinds of things, and you'd like to have a little bit that blooms about in May, and you'd like to have things that stay until about October. The asters and things like that will last through October. The early bloomers like the black-eyed Susans and the purple coneflowers, and then everything in between. So if you have about 5 or 6 different species, it doesn't take a very big plot. You know, find a
Sure.
little 5 by 5 spot in your yard I mean, it doesn't have to be much at all,
Plant some
because
flowers.
if your neighbor does it as well, now we have a big
They
big
can go from
area.
here to
Yeah.
here to here.
Yeah,
Sure.
and so if you're a bug and you're up above and you're looking down, looking for where you're going to be, you know, now you have lots of choices where you can really get to them. You have access to them, and that should support those native species. And hopefully, we can start bringing them back.
Yes.
Because when they go out to the farm fields, they don't like corn, they don't like soybeans. There's nothing for them there, so they're jumping around trying to find out how to survive
Sure.
and that stuff.
Sure. So, the pollinator project at the park. Now, what is that going to do?
Well, the pollinator park, I kind of fell into this. The dog park people were kind of starting to look at that area
Yes.
for something to use, and it used to be farm fields. They used to rent that out, but nobody had used it for many, many years.
Right.
So it just got mowed every year, and somebody from Public Works asked me if I could take our big mower down there and mow it. And I said, well, what are you doing with it? And I said, nothing. We just mow it once a year to keep the weeds down. I said, well, can I have it?
Yeah, give it to me.
And they said, you want it? Take it, And it turns out there's 2 wetlands on there as well. And wetlands are wonderful things for stormwater, and they're wonderful for wildlife habitat. Pardon me. And because they support such a diverse group of amphibians and frogs and bugs and different things like that. And there's a trail that they had started to build. Public Works had built a trail all the way around this thing, so it's it's perfect. It's a great place for a park.
yeah.
It connects on both sides of the new trail that we have down there. Dog park's going to be right there. There's 2 wetlands. It's just like it's a natural thing.
Yeah.
So I said, why don't we build a park there?
Sure.
So we got together with like Ron Knopic from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Hannah Howard from the Nature Conservancy, and Paul Crosser and Dave Cooney and Paul Mays and a bunch of Eric Ocker and different people, all of them, all this this mix of people
Right.
from all over the place. And we said, we're going to do it. And so we just started putting out plants, and we really cleaned it up a lot. And it is really, really rough, and it looks really, really bad in a lot of places because unfortunately it's just been left to do nothing for about 20 years. So we have to go in there and we have to clean out all those nasty invasive species. We have to go in and cut trees. We have to go in and really change the way that thing is going to be run from now on.
Sure.
And these native areas do not, at home, if you plant plugs right away, you're going to have beautiful flowers immediately.
Right.
Unfortunately, when you have, it's about 35 acres worth of work for about 8 volunteers.
Sure.
And a few people from the water resource facility. It's going to take a few years for us to get that. So,
sure.
So I hope people go out and look at it. There's a cool little bridge right past the Kent Stein entrance for the trail where the new soccer complex is going in.
Right.
Go right across that bridge, take that trail, go all the way around. There's some really neat signage out there. Tells you what you're looking at, tells you about some wetlands, tells you about the pollinators, gives you some really good information about what we're doing there. And there's going to be more signs to come. There's going to be park benches. There's going to be all kinds of stuff to do out there.
Great.
It's just going to be kind of a year-over-year type of thing that we
Sure.
have to, as we can.
Yeah.
It's not something
Just keep adding more and more.
Yeah, because it is kind of a lot of volunteers coming together.
Right.
The Stormwater Department is working on sending rainwater to the wetlands so that we can actually clean the water before it goes out into the slough. So that's going to be a big part of what we do.
Good.
As well.
Well, big shout out to all those volunteers. I was out there one day, and out there in the beating sun was those volunteers working, planting those plants, and it wasn't a fun day to be doing it.
That was a hot day.
That was a hot day.
I spent the next week out there watering those
Oh, wow. I know.
to keep them alive, and that was a great thing, and we really appreciate the volunteers that came out and did that. And we do have a greenhouse. We took over the greenhouse at MCC. That
Okay.
had kind of gone by the wayside as well. We refurbished that, and we plant thousands of native plants every year.
Nice.
So we're really going to try to get these out to the community as much as we possibly can. The Pollinator Project had a fundraiser at the Contrary Brew a couple of weeks ago, middle of October, and we've had 2 now. This is our 2nd annual, and we bring out a new brew every year. I can't promise a new brew every year.
Oh, sure.
But if you do go to the Contrary, you got to try the Iowa Pollinator Ale and Prairie Fire. Those are the 2 beers that have been made just for us down at the
Very
Contrary.
good.
And I guess Iowa Pollinator Ale is one of the most popular ones that he has. He sells it at other places around town.
Really?
And hopefully we're going to get this out of town And then we're going to be able to start labeling some of these cans and things with what we do and support the pollinators and
how nice.
to give them information
What a
and
great
everything
idea.
else like that. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty cool little aspect
Sure.
that we're doing with that. And we sure appreciate the Contrary for
Oh
doing
yeah, big supporters of the project, aren't they?
that. They are, absolutely.
That's great.
Absolutely.
And the school is too. So you got some students that are going to help?
Yeah, we were approached by an environmental class that said, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we want these students to have some projects. They have project work they have to do.
Okay.
And they're all interested in different things. And
Uh-huh.
so we proposed some things for them to do. We said, here's what we do. We didn't tell them what to do.
Sure.
And they got together and they started thinking about what they wanted to do. And yeah, and just this week I got a list of about 10 things that they wanted to do. So hopefully we can
Great.
help them out. You know, we'd take any help that we could from anybody else who wants to
Oh, sure.
to help some of these students along. If you want, call me down at the treatment plant or something like that.
Right.
I'll try to do as much as I can with
Sure.
with them. But yeah, they're interested in water pollution and pollinators, and some of them want to do something with bats, and some of them want to be marine biologists. I mean, there's a whole gamut of where this is coming from, and
That's great.
And so we're going to try to do as much as we can to help those students.
Help them learn, and they can do a good project that helps the community
Yeah.
as well.
Because as they learn that, they're going to take that on now. They're going to be
Sure.
the ones that actually do this work, because they're the ones who are going to have to make sure we keep these pollinators going and build
You bet.
it back up again, because
You bet.
the species are not doing well. They're not.
Right.
The monarchs had kind of a comeback this year, but they've been in decline for about 20 years. So,
Right.
So we need to have somebody that the younger generation really take up that cause.
Sure.
Try to bring that back. Try to convert as much farm ground back again as we can. Edge of field stuff should be natives. We just need to get more and more of these.
Just keep it.
The things that were
moving.
here just 200 years ago before
Right.
before we completely
decimated it.
Well, we transformed the
Yes, and
landscape.
yes.
We did, and it's been a great boon for the food supply
Sure.
for everybody, and for the economy and for the farmers and things of that nature. But I think we can do both if we can try
do
to
it
try to
wisely.
reintroduce this back and maybe take some of that out
Sure.
of service as much as possible. So.
Well, I know I joined with some other mayors a couple of years ago and signed the Mayor's Monarch Pledge,
Right.
where cities all around the United States are really focusing, and even some into Mexico now, are really focusing on what can they do to work to save the pollinators.
Yeah, and the monarch is a great champion for us. I mean, like I say, it's
Yes.
kind of an indicator insect, So goes the monarch, so goes other species.
Yes.
Because if they go down, that means there's not enough food for everybody.
For all of them
Right,
that
so-
eat the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're beautiful, and it's a great way
Yes,
for people
it is.
to recognize, and to latch
that
on to.
recognition.
Yeah,
Sure.
So.
Sure.
yeah, I'd like to
Do you have any last things you need to share with us before you go?
just keep an eye out for us.
We will. How can they contact if they want to help?
You can go to muscatinepollinatorproject.org.
Okay.
We're on Facebook as well, Muscatine Pollinator Project. You can just sign up, sign in, say, hey, let me know how I can help and volunteer.
Okay.
Obviously, in the winter, there's not a whole lot to do.
Sure.
Between now and when we start growing in the greenhouse.
Right.
But come spring and everything like that, we'd love to have people that are out there. Like you were there at the park when we were doing that, and you saw how many people were
Oh,
there.
yeah.
We'd like to just be able to put a flat of flowers out there and say, just get them in the ground. And
Exactly.
that's the biggest thing we can do.
Sure.
Because if we can plant plants, those are going to be there immediately.
Right.
You can spread seed out, and those take 3
Those
to
take
5
a
years.
while, right.
Putting plants right into the ground, that's an immediate benefit to the
Sure.
natives that need it.
And I bet if there are people in the community that are interested in putting some native plants in, but perhaps are struggling with a way to get a hold of those plants, they can probably get steered in the right direction also.
Yes, you can go to, like I say, muscatinepollinatorproject.org, contact me. I can get you several different places that sell those plants. If we have them in our greenhouse, hopefully we might have an event where we can give away some of these plants.
There you go.
A lot of them are spoken for already.
Sure.
So a lot of them are going to be right outside of this building next spring when we have the brand new City Hall biocell, we're calling it. So that parking lot out there is going to be taking stormwater into it, and it's going to be full of natives. It's going to be
Isn't
beautiful.
that great?
Yeah, it's going to be really
That's
neat.
great. Well, thank you, and all the volunteers for all that you're doing, because it's all benefiting all of us.
I agree.
And we know it.
Yep, thank you.
And I know you have to get scooting because you are going over to practice for the chorale. Is that how you're pronouncing it?
The Muscatine
Chorale.
Civic Chorale.
And it's at First Presbyterian Church,
Yep.
November 29th.
7 p.m. It's a Christmas special, so it's just a great Christmas songs and a Handel's Messiah sing-along. So if you know Handel's Messiah and you like to sing the Hallelujah chorus, you
betcha.
You can come join us and sing with us.
Oh, that'll be great.
All right.
That will be great.
Yep.
Well, while we're transitioning to our next guest, I wanted to share a couple things, but thank you, John, so much for
Thanks
coming.
for the opportunity.
We appreciate it. Our art center, you know, we were just talking about this a little bit ago, how fortunate we are in our community to have our art center with all of the different things that we have there, their exhibits, their all of the projects that they're doing. We want to show you just a couple that we have going on right now. So we have Alexander Clark, a civil rights leader. That's going to be on view through February 28th, but it's there right now. And so, I mean, everybody needs to get over there, I think, and see this exhibit. It's such a piece of the history of Muscatine. You're not going to want to miss it. Another one that they have over there that's going on till December 30th only is Gerberich's Gadgetry, and you can try all different kinds of stuff and see all of the different things that they have going. You're going to want to check that out too. And then lastly, I just wanted to share, every year they do a heartfelt and homemade unique holiday gifts. And this is on through December 30th. They have the pop-up shop too, where you can get different things. But they always have this ornament competition going. So get on over to the Art Center. I mean, just take an afternoon and go check out some of the different things that they have. We are so blessed to have that in our community. Now I'd like to help me welcome Mel Steckel. She is the Health Promotion Services Director at the Muscatine YMCA, a position she's held for more years than she probably wants me to share publicly. But we all know and love Mel, and one of the projects that she does every year for the community is Breakfast with Santa. Thanks for coming, Mel.
Thanks for asking me, Diana.
Yes, well, we're glad that you're here and that you're going to do this project again.
Well, I was trying to remember. I think that we started Breakfast with Santa in 1976 or 77. So
wow.
It's been at the old YWCA many years ago. So it's an annual event, and we have long ties to lots of folks in the community, lots of families in the community. So it's a ton of fun for me to be able to participate and get out of my bah humbug mood and
there you go.
Kind of get ready for the holidays.
Well, yeah, and it's been around so long, people that came with their kids are coming with their grandkids now.
They are indeed. And we have some people that are volunteering, a family that comes and volunteers every year that have come for many years. Their one son is now graduating from college, but they came when he was just a baby. So they've come every year as participants, or they've come as volunteers.
Sure,
So,
isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Now last year you did it at the mall, right?
Last year we did it at the mall because we were still under construction and didn't have the facility area for Breakfast with Santa at the YMCA with the construction going on.
Sure.
So the mall was gracious enough to allow us to meet out at the mall last year, but we'll be back at the Y
You're going to be back at the Y this year.
We'll be back at the Y.
Okay, in the same spot you usually are?
We'll be in the multi-purpose room, or Gym 2, we now
Yes.
call it.
Yes. If we can ever get used to that name change.
I know, it's old people, we just remember the old names.
we don't adapt that well, do
But
we?
we'll adjust.
Sure.
So we'll be doing activities in the parlor, in the kids club room, and in the multi-purpose rooms. We'll have a light breakfast.
Like donuts, juice, coffee.
Donuts, juice, and coffee, and
some fruit maybe.
a little bit of fruit cut up, right.
Okay.
And at their leisure, the activity is from 9:30 to 11:30, so people can come and go as it suits their schedule.
So they don't have to stay the whole time?
Nope, they don't have
Okay.
to stay the whole time. They don't have to come right at the beginning. They can come and go as it suits their schedule.
Okay.
There will be other activities, including crafts, Christmas crafts and Christmas
fun.
coloring with the Kids Club staff.
Uh-huh.
And Ronna Lawrenson and Judy Whitmore will be doing an old-fashioned story time,
Oh.
which is kind of nice.
In the parlor, is that
in
where
the parlor.
that's going to be?
That will happen in
Okay.
the parlor, and they'll be presented with a little bookmark and encouraged to read.
Of course.
And so Ron always does a great job with that.
Yes.
She formerly ran our preschool, and we had a preschool and daycare center at
Sure.
the Y. So
And then they get a chance to write a letter to Santa, right?
they write a letter to Santa while they're having their breakfast, and then they deliver it to Santa so they can talk about their wish list. And Santa will give them a candy cane. After the fact, we will also, they will get a postcard from Santa. The postcard from Santa is, I could show a little bit,
Sure.
is postmarked from Santa Claus, Indiana. So the return postmark, the pictorial postmark, is a special postmark that the cards will be mailed back to them with a little note from Santa and the pictorial postmark. And
Isn't that
they'll
neat?
receive something in a week and a half or so after the event.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
They're all going to want to see that.
It's well, they wait. Yeah, they
wait for that.
the card to come. The ones that have been before, they wait for the card
Sure,
from Santa to
sure.
come. So the biggest bottleneck probably is waiting in line for Santa, because once Santa arrives, everybody is done doing what they're doing, and they
you
want to
bet.
stand in line and talk to Santa first.
Let's get right to the
that's
business.
the priority, and that's who they're there to see. So they have to get in line and go talk to Santa. Some of the volunteers, the helpers, the elves will help them get up and down off Santa's lap and spend a little bit of time.
Sure.
It's sometimes a lot of bottoms to get on and off Santa's lap in a short period of time. I would say there's usually between 100 or 130 to 150
That's
kids.
a nice group.
And probably the same amount of adults who come with mom and dad or grandma.
That's true.
That bring
That's
the kids
true.
and participate in the morning. So it's a lot of, I would say somewhere around the neighborhood of 200, 230 or 40, maybe 300. We've had years that we've had more, and we've had years that we've had less. But it's usually a good crowd, and everybody gets through, and not too inconvenienced and standing in line too many places.
And most things, if you wait a little bit, I mean, we say this about Halloween at the Y, you can go at the very beginning and wait in line forever to get in the door, or you can wait until 10 after and walk right in.
Yeah.
And probably waiting in line for Santa's the same way. If you let everybody else go and you go do your craft or your story time,
Right.
then go to Santa,
Then you don't have
Less
to stand in
waiting.
line quite as long.
that's right.
We have a few people that have caught on that if they come the last half hour or so, they're probably not going to wait in line quite as long, so they maybe don't come until later in the morning,
Sure.
after the basketball games are over or after their other family activities.
Right, because really, once the kids see Santa,
Yeah,
everything else
he's
is...
the man.
Yeah.
He's the reason they're there.
Yep,
Yep.
that's it.
Absolutely.
That's it,
Yeah.
right. So tickets are on sale right now, right? I think we have a flyer that we can show.
Tickets are on sale at the business desk,
Uh-huh.
at the member services desk at the Y.
Okay.
$3 per person.
Okay.
And the price of the adult tickets help to offset the cost of some of the crafts and activities, et cetera.
Sure, sure.
$3
So
per person.
tickets are $3. That includes your breakfast.
That-
That
yeah.
includes your story. That includes your craft items,
And
everything.
your postcard. Yep.
And your postcard. You
Absolutely.
betcha.
Yeah.
Wow, so I can't believe how many years you've been doing this. 25, 35, 45 years.
Yes, 40, 41 or 2,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a great event. We probably usually have plenty, but if there are some kids, some folks that would like to volunteer, if somebody needs silver cord hours, it's an
that'd be
awfully
fun.
fun activity to volunteer for the community and help us out, mopping up spills and carrying trays of donut holes and helping with the story time and the crafts and getting kids up and down off Santa's lap.
Sure.
So it's a fun event for people to be able to participate with and volunteer.
Well, yeah. The Y, like a lot of other nonprofit organizations, really relies heavily on volunteers.
Absolutely.
We couldn't do
We
the
couldn't do
stuff
it
we
without
do.
the volunteers.
No,
Yep.
we couldn't. And what a fun thing to volunteer for. It's not like you're out working in the beating sun, like
There-
John was just talking about.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cushy event. you know,
Uh-huh. Very, very much.
Volunteer gig. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, It's a
yes.
good thing. So.
So you expect about 100 to 150 children this
Yep.
year.
That's what I would anticipate. Last year, I think there were 139. The year before, there were maybe 149. One year, we had 179.
Wow.
So it just depends
Never know.
on how many company Christmas parties there are on any given day.
Sure.
What the schedules are and what people have to do.
There's so many things going on in our community for kids and families that we end up with several things at one time.
Yeah.
And you really have to pick
People
and choose.
sometimes go from one to the next. So
Sure.
We've kind of camped out on the first Saturday in December for 40 or 41 years.
So you have
I
that
guess.
consistency, and other people, when they're planning their projects, they know, well, the Y is going to be doing breakfast with Santa.
We try. Yeah.
Yes.
We try.
So this year it happens to fall on December 1st.
Yeah. That's kind of pushed things a little bit.
Yes, it is,
Pushes
isn't
us
it?
to get ready for Santa's visit, but it's a good thing, and it's everything as a kid's pace. It's a good way for families to kick off the holiday season at a kid's pace, nothing too frantic or too busy or too hectic. Everything is geared for the kids to participate, and it's a really good time to just stop, take a breath, and spend that family time together. It's become a family tradition for a lot of people
It really
in the
has.
community to be able to spend some time. And so it's really a great way for families to kind of set the pace and set the tone for
Sure.
the rest of the holiday season.
It's true.
And we enjoy it, enjoy their coming, and they can spend as little time during that 9:30 to 11:30 or as much time as they wish at the Y. And we'd be happy to have them and help them kick off their holidays.
It really has become tradition. I know I was looking, when I was preparing to get things ready for tonight, I was looking through my folders on my computer, and I found Christmas, 2010 and 11 and 12, and there's a file, breakfast with Santa, and how the kids all grown. And
Well, yeah, your grandkids have all been at breakfast with Santa.
Oh,
and helped
yes.
with breakfast with Santa.
Oh yes, yeah, love it. It's and it's so nostalgic for a lot of us to be able to continue doing those things because we have all those fond memories of it.
It is, and it's low tech.
Yes.
It's kind of one of those things that we want people families to focus on time spent together.
That's right.
So we're not trying to make it very high tech
or
and
compete
it's
with
not
anything
movies,
else. No,
no
we're
other
just
things. It's just time to spend together and do some crafts and some things that take some of us back to our childhood.
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
That's right. And I appreciate that, and I know a lot of people do too. And thank you to you and all the volunteers.
Absolutely.
So the first thing is they need to get out and get a ticket. $3 for each person. They could probably call the Y and just do that over the phone.
They could, and they could pick them up that morning.
Okay, so that they can get them at the door.
If they wanted to, they can get them at the door as long as we have tickets available. We do have a cap for 200 children's tickets. So,
but typically they'll be all right.
Typically they'll be fine if they come to the door, but it would help me out a little bit if they buy them in advance so I know how many to plan for.
Sure. Any questions, they can just call you at the Y.
They can call me at the Y.
All right.
If somebody wants to volunteer, they can call in. I've got an interest list, and volunteers will take volunteers to help all the kids with their activities that morning.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Mel.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for doing this for all the kids in the
Absolutely.
community.
Thanks for asking me.
We all love it. What's not to love? Santa and kids. You can't get much better than that.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Thanks to both of our guests for coming tonight and sharing the great things that they do in our city for all of us, and it benefits all of us. As we close out tonight, I just wanted to go over just a couple quick things. Next Tuesday, our city guests are Megan Francis with Sunnybrook and Lupe Orr with Community Action of Eastern Iowa. They're going to have a lot of stuff to share also. I also wanted to make sure that I see a bunch of different images up here on the computer. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Salvation Army, bell ringers. I was at a meeting over the noon hour, and they are really looking for bell ringers. They've got a new site, and we just really need to get those red kettles manned so that they can help the families in our community. So if you can help ring bells, if you could call them, I call Sissy, but you could probably talk to whoever answers the phone, which it'll probably be Sissy, is 8272. So please take a turn ringing the bells for Salvation Army. You know, that's another tradition, talking about traditions that I have done with our grandkids. They all take a shift ringing the bells. I think that is something that we need to model for our kids, the importance of volunteerism and giving back and helping others. And I hope that's something as they grow to be adults that they continue to do as an adult, so we can set a good example for them. So please call Salvation Army 263-8272. And you know what? You can sign up for an hour. You can sign up for 4 hours. And all different places in the community. So just give them a call if you can help. Reminder, there's no city council meeting this week. Of course, we'll all be busy eating turkey. And also a reminder about garbage pickup. So Thursday is Thanksgiving. So Thursday's garbage, they're gonna pick up on Wednesday. Friday, our people have the day off. And so Friday's garbage is gonna be picked up on Monday. So Thursday, Friday, no garbage pickup. One a day early, one a day late. Next, I just wanted to quickly tell you about the Canadian Pacific Holiday Train. We are so lucky it's coming back again this year to Muscatine. And it's going to be here at 7:30 is the plan. They've got the arrival at 7:30, and then the event time is 7:45 to 8:15. It's only a half an hour. I'll be there talking for a little bit, and so will the Salvation Army, and then the Trews and Willie Porter are going to do some music, but it's a very short program because it's cold. Anyway, what I want to make sure that everybody knows is if you're planning on coming, make sure that you're there and on the other side, the river side of the railroad tracks, well before 7:30, because it's possible that they could block both entrances over, and we want to make sure that nobody misses out. So make sure that you get there in plenty of time before the 7:30 cutoff, just in case those entrances to the riverfront are blocked. So we hope to have a nice crowd. You know, the Canadian Pacific Holiday Train is a wonderful program. They're taking all kinds of donations for food that then is taken down to the Salvation Army. So it's another one of those opportunities for us to give back to people in our city. Lastly, I just wanted to ask you to please come back again next week as we have 2 more guests. And I want to impress upon everybody to thank everybody that is in their life and that they see doing kind things as we're coming upon the season, to appreciate everybody that's in our lives. And I want to wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your family and friends. And if you know of somebody that doesn't have any around, welcome them into your family also. We hope to see you back here next week on Our City, and thanks for coming.
Our City with Mayor Diana Broderson replays on MPW Channel 9, Wednesday at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. and Thursday at 7 a.m. Of course, we're live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook. Email us at ourcity@muscatineiowa.gov.